Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Sports Goofs number 116. I'm Francisco, joined by my good buddies Andrew and Charles. And guys, we got a big night tonight. We got baseball.
I mean, one of our topics tonight had also a pretty big night, if you know what I mean.
Oh, well, if anybody's watching this, the title of this episode is SG-116 Horny Jail, and well, certain head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars is going to Horny Jail. All right,
Bonk.
yep, just wow. Oh man, what a story! I'm loving the memes. Everything about it is great. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the NFL. We'll talk about college football. I'm jumping my NFL bandwagon already, right? That's going to be my story arc this season. And we're going to laugh at the Miami Dolphins because the Miami Dolphins are terrible. It's not its own dedicated segment anymore, but it will be in spirit to this week. Man, oh god, I wish we could get Doug on the show more often because, man, we trash them every week. Oh, so how was your week, guys? How was your sports watching week? How was everything? Who wants to go? Andrew, what's been going down with you?
I mean, I'll discuss a little bit later, but this was a bit of a down week for me sports-wise. I mean,
Well,
nothing's ever too down.
your Tampa
sports-wise.
Bay Rays clinched the best record in the American League. You guys are punching your way to the postseason already, just awaiting the winner of tonight's game.
Trash.
Oh, and at 8 o'clock, I may or may not have it on screen for us in like a tiny, tiny little corner,
You can't do that to me.
so I can see it. But the score is on the score crawl. We're waiting there from Fenway Park. This is everything Charles has wanted all season.
It really is going to script.
Like, this is the culmination of his pettiness all in one. And either way, either result, he may get what he wants. Or he will get what he wants. But yeah. Alright, so we gotta find a way to organize the discussion today. So we're gonna go with baseball just to start because it's pertinent, and I'd like to talk about it before the game starts at 8 o'clock. All right, guys. So Major League Baseball season is over. So congratulations to all the teams that made the postseason. We are finally in the true October baseball when things really matter. September was really exciting, especially in the American League. It was nice. It was a great finish because Game 162 had a lot of things that were on the line, and it's been a while. I mean, it was the 10-year anniversary of Game 162 from 2011, so it seemed like appropriate that there might have been some chaos that could have happened. Unfortunately, it didn't happen because, man, that would have been awesome. But all right, let's get back to what I was referring to. All right, before we get into that, the Tankathon race. Well, the Baltimore Orioles and the Arizona Diamondbacks tied. They both went 52 and 110. So the Baltimore Orioles somehow were able to take 2 of 3 from the Red Sox and still had their tank, and yet it didn't really matter, did it, Charles? Did it?
No.
No.
But they did what I needed them to do. What I quoted them to have 4 wins, and they kind of bitched out in a way to only give me 2 wins. But it was the 2 most important wins, so I appreciate them.
No. So so Baltimore, I'm not sure. It has Baltimore as the worst team. Maybe, I don't know what the tiebreaker is for that. So the Baltimore Orioles,
Strength of
congratulations.
schedule?
I don't know. It might be run differential. Who knows? But yeah, the Baltimore Orioles are the worst team in Major League Baseball, I guess, by tiebreaker. So there you go. Congratulations to who's the owner of the Orioles? What was it? Andrew, do you know? Baltimore Orioles owner.
No clue.
Gosh, I should know this. I really should know this because he's one of the more hated owners in baseball, along with I guess Nutting in Pittsburgh. They seem to be kind of the same guy for some reason.
And
Anyways,
it's such a shame because Camden Yards is truly a really
it's amazing,
gorgeous-
right? Pittsburgh and
Peter
Baltimore.
Angelos.
Peter Angelos. Okay, yeah. I was gonna say Art Moreno, but no, that's the Angels owner.
You guys,
And
Peter Angelos literally looks like a Disney villain. That he actually looks like what the devil would look like if he took a human form to kind of proffer for your soul.
like in a cartoon or something.
Yeah, seriously. A
From,
little
like,
bit about
the
Peter
30s.
Angelos. He was a former lawyer, so there's hope for us to be. Listen, you know what? There's hope. There's hope that I can literally destroy a baseball organization.
Mm.
And he's also a racehorse owner breeder. Perfect. I don't like the idea that I would look like something that is an amalgamation of dead skin in a meat pie, but or filled by a meat pie. But hey, whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, so there you go. Congratulations. My Miami Marlins finished in 4th in our division. We 67 and 95, and well,
What do you do with Mattingly? Does Donnie come back?
well, Donnie Baseball was a lot. Well, no, not a lot. A ton. Gosh, an understatement. That this was the most disappointing he's ever had. He's ever felt after a baseball season as a manager. So, hey, Smelter, welcome back. They've been a long time sponsor, almost the entire year now. So
They're going to compel us to buy Smelter because you are eating fresh out eating.
If it pops out on Xbox Game Pass, I will try. I'm trying right now Fogs, which was a non-sponsor, or actually a real sponsor before, and I'm having fun with that. So that's about a 10-hour game. I'm gonna try and get through all of that. And Freddy is Smelter. We are all Smelter. Yeah. Yeah, and so, yeah, my Miami Marlins. Gosh, guys. The Marlins won 57 games in 2019, and we won 67 this year. So, in what? That'll be in 6 years, we'll win 97 and make the playoffs. So, there's hope in the future. It's just a long time from now. Gosh. And the Detroit Tigers are they won 77 games this year and improved by 30 wins in their last 2 seasons. So I don't know what's going on with our rebuild, but it's not looking good right now for the Marlins. Too many question marks unless they actually open up the pocketbook and spend. All right, let me keep going. God, I hope just one. Nick Castellanos, I want to be afraid for my life every game. I would love for Castellanos to be on the Marlins, be like, guys, you had another home run. Just make sure, stop, drop, and roll, what have you. Stranger danger. So that would be fun if that happened. He's going to be opting out of his contract with the Reds, and we'll see where he goes after that. Okay, going down this list, Texas, Pittsburgh, Washington, the Cubs, who blew it up, the Twins, who were supremely disappointing this season.
They were just COVID fakes.
Yeah. The Kansas City Royals, who were like the champions of baseball in April, and that was it. The Rockies, the New York Mets. The New York Mets, everybody. First place pretty much all the way through August in the National League East, and then completely fell apart. And excuses. Don't give me injuries. Don't give me DeGrom. Just, you had it. The Braves didn't have Acuna. They put it together. The Phillies. Oh, man, the Phillies. Wow, they botched. They botched the division. They had it in their hands. They had the easiest strength of schedule for the entire month of September, and they screwed the pooch. So, gosh, I have to. God, man, I don't want to give kudos to the Braves, but kudos to the Braves for turning it on when they needed to, and then facing the Phillies in pretty much a true division series, where it was whoever came out on top was probably going to win the division. The Braves just shut them down completely. So the Phillies, just no chance. Bryce Harper, we'll see if he makes wins the National League MVP. We'll talk about the players. This is kind of our baseball regular season recap, anyways. We'll keep going. Let me keep going down this list. The Los Angeles Angels. Shohei Ohtani, the only notable thing from that team.
Overrated.
Ooh, but he's gonna win the MVP, Charles. We know this.
So what? So what? Plenty of people win MVPs.
The the San Diego Padres, everybody.
Speaking of overrated,
The
can I say I told you so?
Oh boy.
I've been sitting on it for 4 months.
Let's park the recap right here. Let's park it in San Diego. All right, let's jack it a bit in San Diego and talk about this, guys.
Typical what happens if you live in San Diego, you're getting carjacked. It's happening, kids.
So, the San Diego Padres in this sort of this battle of just 3 different kaiju in the National League West at one point between them, the Dodgers, and the Giants. It was like pick and choose who you thought was going to win the National League West. It was a gauntlet through and through. But the Padres started to fall out a bit. They couldn't keep up, and man, it was hard to keep up with the Dodgers and the Giants. Wow, they were winning games at a ridiculous clip. Giants finished with 107 wins, best record in Major League Baseball. The Dodgers 1 game back at 106 wins. There you go. Only 3 teams with 100 wins, including Andrew's Rays. But the Padres, all right, fine. They'll get the consolation prize, right? They'll finish as the second wild card. They'll face either Los Angeles or San Francisco to finish out and then go from there. But, well, things started to happen, guys. The San Diego Padres showed up. And, oh boy, what an epic collapse. I don't care what Fernando Tatis was doing, because he was just putting up garbage time numbers by that point, right?
Just like Shohei Ohtani.
I mean, Manny Machado kind of showed it to us when he was yelling at him in the dugout towards the end of the season. All right, it's not about you. Well, he put up his numbers, sure, whatever, but I don't know if you can. Oh, man, I don't know if I can call Fernando Tatis Jr. an MVP, because if you take him off the Padres, what do you get? The same team with what? Maybe 5 less victories? 6, 10 maybe?
You're really digging in deep on that one.
I mean, look, they finished with a losing record. They went 79 and 83. They couldn't even finish with a winning record. They couldn't even go 82 and 80. And this team truly bet the farm on this season. They traded away whatever prospects they had. They did everything, and they got fleeced by the Tampa Bay Rays for Blake Snell.
Yeah.
But the Rays seem to be doing that to everybody. I would never trade with the Rays if I were a Major League Baseball team, because you know they're gonna find a way to screw you. I would never trade with the Rays if they're trading away one of their Major League talent players. I would never do it, because you know that player is probably just gonna fall apart, or he's just gonna completely fall off by the wayside. So he's either super injured or he's just gonna be done. And here we are, San Diego Padres. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. As what does Ron Burgundy say about San Diego, Charles?
You say classy, San Diego.
Oh, you say
it's also
classy.
standing for a whale's vagina, according to Ron Burgundy. And boy, they just kind of took it, because Joyce is not their a good manager. I think that kind of shows from there. Fernando Tatis, when Manny Machado, who had a bad reputation to begin with, and he's not a bad person, He was
No.
just not have a good reputation of being a clubhouse person. Is going with Fernando Tatis, and we had our reservations about Tatis Jr. getting the extension off of a year and a half sample size. And yes, the numbers are fine. The numbers are always kind of fine. That's why you get sucked into giving that big contract. The only contract I think recently that was a pure sucker deal when you should have not done it whatsoever on the big merit numbers was Anthony Rendon. But that was because of the moment. Everything happened in the Nationals. But even Bryce Harper, this is year 2 with the Phillies, and that first year was bad, but now we're kind of seeing a little bit. But that is at least something that's based off a track record.
Right. And Bryce Harper this year, especially when the Phillies were trying to make their push for the division title, he was hitting. He was hitting at the right moments. He was hitting at the clutch moments. I can't say that. I myself cannot say that Tatis Jr. did anything of true consequence to help the Padres out of their spiral in September.
And that's what I hate about MVP voting, because they look at it with the whole, it's really just home runs. Is it not? It's home runs and RBIs. That's what the batting, that's not the batting title, but there's the Slugger Award or whatever it is. That's supposed to be there.
Well, the Silver Slugger for the best, I guess, average batter and for a position player, right? And then you have the batting title for the best batting average for each league.
And then everybody knows you're the home run king, regardless. But it feels like the MVP has literally just become that. Not an all-around component, because Tatis, I think you do have to take in consideration of being subpar. I am more of the opinion that a person who is on a winning team or an average team, not under 500, should get that consideration. Is he a phenomenal shortstop? Sure, yeah, whatever.
Well, they moved him to the outfield. Remember that they moved him to the outfield.
That's right, because he couldn't. Well, he got hurt though, so that's a different. Yeah, I'll let him pass on that one. But, and I haven't followed as much of the NL, though. I think some merits could be made to anybody on the Cardinals right now. Arenado, looking at you, because if you're going to consider what those teams are with the player, I think that's something to be considered. But this also focuses back on the idea. We talked about it last year when the Dodgers won. This was little brother trying to get on big brother, and the things don't fit because you look at their pitchers. I don't know who half the hell their pitchers were. I'm not going to lie to you. Straight up. And then you get Darvish, who's been broken for such a long time. And then you struck out on
Snell.
What's his name? Not Snell, but they couldn't get Scherzer. And
that's right.
Tingler, who we had beef with last year because he didn't let the players play.
Yeah.
So I'm like, the formula was there. Yes, the Giants came out of nowhere. And the problem is the Giants, with who they were this year, made you really feel like that they missed out, or they took away some wins that should have been there.
I don't think the Giants. So last season, the Giants almost made the playoffs.
Yeah, but it's a big jump, man. That was a 20-game jump.
Yeah, but the Giants.
You can't count Corona World, but
no. I'm actually saying that the Giants' performance last season was a indication of how they would do this season. The Giants were supposed to be in a rebuild, or at least in a kind of transitional period, not really, or at least a rebuild on the fly. Right?
Yeah.
So
we call it a reload.
Yeah. So it seemed like they were going that, but they suddenly had a trajectory of, they were almost made the playoffs. I think they basically were one game back or tied in the last season. And it was like, this team's not as bad as people thought they would be. And then they kind of ran with it this season, and they won 107 games. And man, the Phillies must really be kicking themselves for firing that manager, right?
Kepler?
Yeah, because he actually seems to know what he's doing.
Don't insult Joe in my house.
I know, but
don't insult him. We're on the cusp of firing one manager right now, I hope.
You really think he's gonna pull? You guys gonna do a Billy Martin and hire Girardi back?
Well, I wouldn't want Joe Girardi.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
I want Rick Renteria, baby.
Mm.
We've gone to Aaron
Rick
Boone
Renteria
manages
could be
these
like a
first
Joe.
four
Hold on.
managers.
So just a real like Rick Renteria could be like a Joe Torre-esque type of hire, because
Yeah.
Joe Torre was kind of had that same sort of
He is the Rick Renteria.
yeah. Like Joe Torre wasn't like this huge name, or like he managed in other places and stuff like that. And he just never found real success, and then he goes to New York and figures it out, and boom. So
Well, we talked about it on an Andrewless episode where in baseball you can't really look at managerial records because some teams just stick out for such a long time. But what happens is, my concern is, if we let Boone go and we don't go Renteria, we're gonna wait to see if the Marlins drop him, and then we're gonna get Donnie, and I don't want Donnie.
and the Marlins, I don't know if Don Mattingly would be dropped. I think it'd be more like he would like he would retire, and then the Yankees would just hire him, most likely, or the Yankees work out a deal, the buddies with the Marlins, and just be like, hey, we'll give you like some ex minor leaguer for Don Mattingly to be the manager.
Because when you think about it, there's no one on that team that he has to actually develop. Because when he was good in LA, it was more the idea of like we already had like an established talent, and there's a few guys we're gonna let go. I do not believe Gleyber Torres is gonna be back unless they keep that second base and then they go for Trevor Story as rumored. But all that being said, just fire it. Just do it. Just do it. It all depends on how he manages the first 4 innings, which will be the most crucial, is knowing when to pull out Cole.
Let's see. So
that's all we got on the Padres. I was right.
Yeah.
Suck at everybody who said I wasn't, because I was the only person. And then I got Francisco. Andrew remained silent because he's got Will Myers and Blake Snell, and God forbid he slanders some old Rays. But screw him. I was right. Y'all suck. Fire Tingler. You got to fire Tingler. If the Mets just fired Rojas, you can fire Tingler.
Oh boy. And Rojas, I think he got shafted more than anything. I think he could actually be a good manager, but yeah.
It's not like he's the one who signed all those people to do nothing.
Exactly. Who knows? Maybe he goes to maybe he moves across and goes to the Bronx, and he's the manager of the Yankees next season. Who knows? All right. So, the Cleveland Indians. It seemed like a rebuilding season, yet they still went 80-82. I don't know what they're doing.
That's without Tito.
And that's
because he once again took a mid-season leave.
We're gonna see what happens with that. He's
done, man.
Yeah, he's got nothing more to manage for. He's got his rings, right? He's
gone
good.
to the World Series with 2 separate teams.
Exactly. I got this. We'll see. I think the Guardians, right? It's the Guardians now. I think the Guardians will try and we'll see. I think they'll obviously have, if Terry Francona wants to come back, he'll come back, because he's still a good manager, and the team isn't that far off if they want to try and retool and have like a breakout season as the Guardians and try and get people to buy that new merch, right? That's some incentive to sign a free agent or two, right? There you go.
I mean, when you're thinking about it, out of all the managers, he is the guy that you want to lead a newly named franchise with.
Yeah. So there's Cleveland. We talked about the Phillies. They finished 82-80, their first winning record in like a decade. So they accomplished that at the very least, but I think they screwed the pooch. I feel like they had a golden opportunity to win the National League East, and they didn't. They had so many games against the Orioles and the Marlins and the Pirates, and they somehow squandered pretty much all of those. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going down. The Atlanta Braves won the division again. Somehow they found a way. Yeah. I think they should get bounced, unless the Brewers.
Who are they playing?
The Milwaukee Brewers.
Ooh.
They should get bounced, but
I mean, I don't. Do you have faith in that Brewers team? If I can't name a single player on your team, that's not a good sign.
well, they have a good pitching staff. That's the thing. But it's all about whether the guys will actually hit at the right times. Maybe, and if Christian Yelich has his MVP form, So we'll see. All right, next we got the Cincinnati Reds. Yeah, they got close, but they could never. They were the most inconsistently consistent team, because they would go on these winning streaks, and then they'd have losing streaks, and then winning streaks. Ultimately, they finished 83 and 79, so that kind of fits the bill. But Joey Votto's old, guys. He still bangs. We all agree. Joey Votto still bangs, right? But he's 38, I think. Like, he is up there. And Castellanos is probably leaving. So we'll see. They got a good young squad. I'm sure they'll try and figure out a way to replace Castellanos, but we'll see what happens next season. The Oakland A's, Moneyball, just fell short. Never. They hung around. They hung around, but they could never kind of get that one last winning streak, that push to kind of put them in the category of those teams that were fighting for that last game of the season. They were just one winning streak short of being there. They just couldn't. They tried to go for it. They got Starling Marte, and he had a monstrous second half of the season, and he will be. A lot of teams will be trying to get him to sign someplace, so he had himself a contract year. That's the only notable thing for the A's. This one's sad. The Seattle Mariners. This one's really sad. I mean, did you guys see like the highlights from that last game after they knew the game was over and they lost, or that the Red Sox had clinched?
Did you see their thank you note from the PR?
Yeah, I mean, that was like, oh man, the Mariners. They have the longest playoff drought in North American sports right now. And it seemed like, man, this could be the year, but I don't know how they did it, to be honest. They have an awful run differential, but some magic was happening towards the end of the season. Hey, new sponsor, new world, guys.
Just how it is for the New Word, not New World.
New World.
Is that?
Yeah, New World, it's made by Amazon, so Overlord Jeffrey Bezos is overseeing that one. MMORPG. A lot of people are getting into it.
I know the servers are cracked already.
Yeah, I know. I can't. I cannot. I'm afraid to start an MMORPG.
You don't strike me as an MMORPG guy.
I mean, those like what life games, those service games. It's just too much. I don't want to be. I get consumed by a series for like a month or so. You'll see me like, hey, I'm into Halo for like a month, or Metal Gear for like a month, or Doom for like a month, and then like I consume everything and then I get out of it. I can't do that with God, New World. Sheesh, I'm not gonna be able to do that, guys. All right, so yeah, there we go, new sponsor. All right, so yeah, Seattle was just sad. I was pulling for them. Like, I was hoping it'd be Seattle versus Toronto in the American League wild card. But Rob Manfred got what he wanted. He got his precious Yankees versus Red Sox. There you go. Oh, wow.
It's just good television, bud.
Yeah, I know, but still. I mean, even this retro baseball game that's playing in the background between the Yankees and Red Sox, it had some compelling action because David Ortiz got hit in the head and there was a bench clearing. I mean, it is what it is. It's the rivalry, right? Here we go. Who's going to get the bleeping middle name from the Yankees this year, right? That's what Charles is hoping for. Giancarlo bleeping Stanton. Aaron
he's getting
Judge.
Kisses, dog. Because I was looking at the stats earlier this year. Between him, this team is really just Cole, Judge, and Stanton.
Yeah.
And Stanton's had 35 home runs, 36 home runs. Judge has had 39 home runs. They're 1 point differential between RBIs, and that should say a lot. They were healthy. I was Giancarlo, whatever the hell way you say your name. I was the only one supporting you, baby. It was just me. Everybody can attest to it. Since the start of the season, boys, I was still on that. I did not betray my man. I just knew that at some point, mediocrity. Now I just hope to God it shows up. Because do I believe him and Judge personally fueled us to the playoffs? Absolutely. but can they at least destroy the demon that is Alex Cora?
Oh boy. All right, let's. So yeah, Seattle. Gosh, I'm sorry. Hopefully next season. Hopefully next season is the year. Is the year you guys finally break that drought, and maybe just maybe do something in the postseason. Maybe. All right. Next, the St. Louis Cardinals, who just went on an absolute tear to clinch the National League wild card. They were on such a hot streak that they didn't even make the NL wild card a competition by the last week of the season. It was just known that the Cardinals were taking it. The Reds weren't taking it. The Mets and the Padres pulled out. The Phillies and the Braves, even the Phillies and Braves couldn't even catch up to either of them, so they had to settle for the NL East. Like, wow. The St. Louis Cardinals going in as one of the hardest teams in baseball. And guys, the Cardinals fan base already has a nickname for this season, calling it the Run of 21. And the St. Louis Cardinals, once more, one of those teams that they can just win the World Series when they're this hot. They'll just win it. And it'll be like, well, all right. And a lot of people don't talk about how successful the Cardinals have been since 1996, right?
Second best, really second best team in the organization or the MLB?
Or at least the best, well, the second best NL team. It's them. It's the Red Sox. It's the Yankees. It's San Francisco. And when most recently LA and yeah, but the Cardinals are up there. They're up there as one of those top organizations. They somehow find a way to avoid rebuilding and just kind of do it on the fly. And here we are. I mean, several different teams that are getting to the postseason, and maybe one more for Yadier Molina before he retires. Him and Adam Wainwright. This could be it. This could be it.
Years.
This could be it. Next season is his last season. This could be the last run for him to get one more ring. That'll solidify. People are like making a debate of whether he's a Hall of Famer. He wins one more, he's definitely a Hall of Famer. I think he's going to get in anyways. I think enough voters will put him in. There's not many catchers in the Baseball Hall of Fame anyways. But he wins one more ring, he's got it. Which
you
kind of
have to consider all the talents that he was behind the plate for, and
right.
I think that's what would push him over.
Yeah. So, yeah, all the different pitches he had to go, all the different staffs. I mean, once more, these are different Cardinals teams that are making it to the World Series over that time frame, making it to the playoffs, making it to at least the NLCS. So, St. Louis, all right, the Toronto Blue Jays, they got hot,
trash,
but they just couldn't keep it up. They couldn't keep up to the other two. They tried, and it's gonna get scary these next few seasons in the American League East.
I will not confirm or deny whether or not they are going to be scary, but we popped them.
But
there you go.
You see the average age of that team and that staff. Vlad Guerrero Jr. doing the things, right? Doing stuff his dad didn't even do. I mean,
tainted bloodline.
Tainted bloodline, bro.
He's not even really your kid, Vlad. He's gypsy baby.
So Toronto looking. Oh wow, man, sheesh, it'd be nice to see what a real rebuild feels like. I'm just saying, Marlins, please do it. Oh man. Okay. Then we've got the rest of now we got the rest of the postseason teams. We already talked the Braves and stuff like that. So, but before
discuss the Rays really quick. I know we discussed them briefly, but there is something I do want to mention.
Go ahead, because I was about to pop into like some of the individual player stuff.
So
yeah.
I'm just hoping that so I discussed this with Francisco last year. That Seattle got their new stadium, the then known as Safeco Field, basically as a result of their walk-off win in the ALDS against the Yankees in '95. The city did not want to pay for a new stadium. They were on the way out, basically. The Kingdome was dilapidated beyond use. But because of that, moving to the ALCS, there was enough public support for a stadium. I'm hoping that 2 years of consistent playoff success, really more than that. We've had a few good years recently of playoff success. I'm really hoping that I'm torn, man, because I hate cities giving up tons of money to fund baseball sports venues. I hate it so much. But part of me is like, I want the Rays to stay. The best way to do that, the fans have shown that they are passionate. The problem is they just can't get to the stadium. I mean, I would be curious to know what the attendance numbers are for the Braves since they've moved from Turner Field. Because Cobb County, or wherever the hell they are now, is what, an hour out of downtown Atlanta?
I think it's there's I think part of the reason why the Braves moved out, it's not an hour out of Atlanta. It's more like, let's say, half an hour out of Atlanta. But it's not because I don't think it's entirely because the Braves couldn't make it work at Turner Field and all because of their fan base, or white people, were mostly outside of Atlanta, and that was where the majority of their fan base was. I think that was part of the reason, but I think it was more about the fact that they could control the area surrounding the stadium and have their little mini baseball city. That's what they were looking for. That's what they wanted more than anything. Because for all intents and purposes, there was nothing really wrong with Turner Field. There really wasn't. Right. There was nothing wrong with the stadium. It was well enough. They could renovate it. Even a lot of the stadiums from the 90s have already renovated some stuff in Cleveland and Denver. So it's not. I think it's that they wanted more control of the surrounding area, and there was nothing surrounding Turner Field. There really wasn't. So it was just.
Looking at the numbers now, they're actually pretty similar to what they were before.
Yeah, Atlanta's as fair weather as any city. If the Braves suck, people aren't. It doesn't matter what ballpark they're playing in. They're not going to show up. They're just not. They're not going to. So.
But my ultimate point, and I know that we've discussed this a zillion times, and I'm very passionate about it, but if you put a venue, I guarantee that if Amalie Arena was plopped in
St.
the location where the Trop is, no one would go.
So,
and listen, I get it. Success breeds higher attendance. UCF is
here's an indication to your point, Andrew. The Rays TV numbers are really good.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
And it's not just because they play the Yankees and the Red Sox a ton of games.
We have great TV.
At this point, the team is more than 20 years old now. You can almost write off the first 10 years.
Right.
Anybody who experienced that and still remained a fan, you were a diehard for sure, right? But the second 10 years have been really good. You had
really
basically the 2008 team through 2012-ish, and then you had your rebuild, and now you're back to this.
There are really two. If you could almost say there are two main eras of Rays baseball. Well, coincidentally, it also lines up with the name change, but from '98 to 2007, there was not a lot of success. I don't think they ever went to the playoffs.
No winning record, and I don't think they even cracked 80 wins.
But then, like I said, it happened to coincide with the name change and the rebrand. But from '08 on, they've been incredible. They've made it to 2 World Series. They've won the East 3 times, which, bear in mind, that's got the Yankees and the Red Sox. And the Red Sox are actually good now.
Lies. Don't bring
Well,
that.
generally
Awesome.
speaking, compared to...
The last 3 years are all question marks.
But I'm just saying, this is not Curse of the Bambino Red Sox. This is actually they have a legitimate chance each year of...
So to get it back to the point, to the topic of the stadium itself, I think right now you guys are a pawn. You guys are a pawn. The Tampa Bay Rays franchise is a pawn for Major League Baseball. And was it Sternberg, the owner of the Rays? This is all play. This is all play. It's either force. Look, hey, we got a if you guys, especially if you win the World Series, how are you not going to give them a ballpark, right? That's basically how they're gonna take it to whatever city in the Tampa Bay area. Like we won the World Series. What else? What more do you guys want? The Marlins basically did that twice. It worked the second time, so that's what's gonna try and go on in Tampa. But then they're like, well, look, we're gonna play half the season in Montreal next year. So
you know what really? It takes a lot to piss me off, and I think I mentioned this to you guys in our group chat. But when I say Sternberg, I and basically every Rays fan don't mean him necessarily specifically. He's kind of like
he's the figurehead. He's the figure. He's
right.
the face of the ownership group.
I forget what the actual term is. But there's a term when you use a term for a singular thing to represent a whole other thing, like the White House. The White House is literally the building, but the White House has come to mean the executive branch of the United States, basically. So same thing. Sternberg really just means the whole ownership group. But anyway, they had the gall and the audacity to put up they were going to put up a sign that was touting the split city deal in the playoffs.
That's the ultimate FU.
I don't care who you are. That is terrible management.
We will see. Hold on. I want to know how will basically the Tampa Bay area, right? Will the Tampa Bay area just be like San Diego with the Chargers and be like, you know what? Just fuck off and leave then. Just fuck off and leave. Just go. Or the same thing with like St. Louis with the Rams. Just go. Just leave. Just get out of here. And just go. And
a metonym.
And what's more, it's a ploy because Major League Baseball is going to try and win in the end. They're either going to get a brand new stadium in Tampa and just get that over with, and then their only problem franchise will be Oakland, or it allows them to gauge how Montreal will receive Major League Baseball again. And there's a lot of diehard Expos fans. Remember, the Expos were like 40 years or was it? Yeah, something like that in Montreal. And they had a gigantic fan base just because Jeffrey Loria is a piece of shit. that was it. That was it. And as a Marlins fan, I can say, yeah, he's a piece of shit. So having an ownership group that's not a piece of shit with this Rays franchise tailor-made, ready to go to play in Montreal right away and possibly win right away. It's like, wow, okay, Montreal may just be like, hey, let's just build that downtown ballpark in Montreal. The Rays will move. We'll get them. They might win immediately, like when the Nordiques moved to Colorado with the Avalanche.
Oh my God, Freddie.
And ex post facto. and Major League Baseball may even come out winning in the end because the Montreal metropolitan area is larger than the Tampa Bay metropolitan area from a population standpoint. So they have 2 Canadian markets that could work. Again, like that might be a win for Manfred regardless. Yeah, I think that's what you guys are pretty much just a pawn. You got this franchise is a pawn, and it's gonna be interesting once this season is over, especially if they win it all. Oh, okay. We are, let's see, we're 47 minutes. I just want to talk about some of like the numbers here with regards to, okay, so National League home run leader was Fernando Tatis Jr.
Trash.
Yeah. But then Trey Turner led in a lot of other categories for the Dodgers. 328 batting average, most stolen bases, he most hits as well. Then you have Bryce Harper with the best OPS, best slugging percentage. All right. Adam Duvall, the Marlins traded him to the Braves, and he kept on mashing RBIs. 113 to finish the season. Freddie Freeman scored the most runs. All right, Juan Soto, best on base percentage. Harper, let's see, yep, and he had the most walks as well. There you go. The American League. So Yuri Gurriel for the Astros, best batting average, so won the batting title there. 48 home runs for Salvador Perez and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He has the most RBIs as well, Perez, for the Royals. And Vlad also most runs scored, best on base percentage, best slugging percentage, best OPS. And Shohei Ohtani got triple, most triples. But we'll see how that American League MVP voting is going to go, because if you just consider it most valuable player, most valuable offensive player, then I would say Vlad Guerrero Jr. would get it. But if they're really going to take most valuable and put it all together as just all in one thing, then you could say Shohei for both. I mean, pitchers have won MVPs before, even though I don't think they should, but
he's a utility pitcher. It's almost the equivalent of how they'll get sometimes players deep in the bullpen when they're out in extra innings and just utilize them.
I think he's going to win it. I really do. Yeah, I feel like the voters are going to vote him to win it, even though Vlad Guerrero Jr. had a monster season. And same thing with Salvador Perez.
I actually discussed this with Doug in our goof off the other night on MLB 21. And hear me out. This might be a hot take, but I think Shohei Ohtani has had the best season in MLB history.
I think we're amping up a little bit that he's won certain games specifically for his team offensively and as a pitcher. I can get that logic, but
because
I don't know.
It's the best season overall.
But you got to consider postseason.
I don't know. There have been some monster seasons. You know, Ichiro with getting the hits record. I mean, Barry Bonds. Steroids or not. Steroids or not.
Right, but listen. You're
just falling into the trap of what the voters want you to be. Is that he He could be everything. They just want the new babe. That's what it is.
I get that that's the message they're pushing. Hell, they revamped MLB 21 the show, their Road to the Show series. They revamped it so now you can be a two-way player. You can play as a player and as a pitcher. I mean, they're going all in on Shohei Ohtani. I get that. But he had 45 home runs this year, which wasn't first, but ain't too shabby either.
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled with his batting average, but apparently batting average doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything anymore. Unless you're Joey Gallo batting
It's all about that launch angle, guys. Come on now. And that exit velocity.
And so hitting is really good. He's really good. He's a 5-tool player in the field. He can run, he can field, his fielding it's less discussed, I guess. His discussion is more on the offensive side of the ball.
But he doesn't field, though, because he's DH when he's not pitching, correct?
Right.
Right, but he does play the field sometimes.
Yeah,
as a pitcher.
That's my problem.
So
here's his stats for this season, right? So 155 games played as a hitter. So scored 103 runs, 138 hits, 26 doubles, 8 triples, which led the American League, 46 home runs, 100 RBI, 26 stolen bases, 96 walks, 189 strikeouts, 257 batting average, 372 on base percentage, 592 slugging, and 965 OPS. But he was mainly used as a DH. As a pitcher, he pitched in 23 games, went 9-2, 3.18 ERA, 130 innings pitched, allowed 98 hits, 48 runs, 15 home runs, 44 walks, 156 strikeouts. So, if you took his numbers and you separated him as just a batter, he had a great season, but not the best season a batter has ever had in a single season. Right. And if you take him as a pitcher, 9-2 is good, but it's not as much as a regular starter would start. And maybe as a rookie that would be great numbers, but it's not the best pitcher that a singular pitcher would have.
And a 3.18
but
ERA
also bear in
is
mind,
basically
this is essentially his second season pitching, because he pitched, I think, 1 year,
and then he hurt his arm and had TJ.
This was, and in the past they either didn't let him pitch at all because he was having arm issues or whatever.
Well, I think he had to get Tommy John.
Yeah, he did.
Right. I remember a quote from Joe Madden from earlier in the season saying that this was basically the first year where they let him off the leash. So again, I fully. I'm not saying that he's the best hitter ever. I'm not saying he's the best pitcher ever. I'm not saying that he's had the best season in those. But when you consider that he is a really, really good hitter all around, he doesn't just hit bombs. He steals bases. He makes good contact.
Well, 257
but
average.
He also had a nice. I would say that he probably had the best overall season in history.
I wouldn't say. I don't even. He was a sensation, especially around the All-Star break the All-Star game and stuff like that. But then, and he was still mashing. But by the end, the Angels in September, the Angels shut him down. They shut him down pitching wise, and he was just a DH. And at that point, the novelty sort of wore off a bit. And part of that is probably the fault of the Angels because they are an awful franchise. That part of that is they are wasting the talents of both him and Mike Trout. We get that. That doesn't help. But I kind of stopped paying attention to him once his team became irrelevant.
Ooh, so are you penalizing him for not being the face of the franchise?
I mean, his WAR, he had a 9. Like his WAR for this season as a hitter was a 9, which is great and all, but the Angels won 77 games. I count it as part of like wins, but if you took him off the team, the Angels are the Marlins. And there's not really much of a difference between the Angels and the Marlins, and I'm like, okay, that doesn't really impress me. If he was...
I think you validate the statement of why it's not a good, if it's not a good, the greatest season ever, because you take him off the team, it's the Marlins, but having him on the team can even and for a guy who plays both fields, so I'm going to attack on it. He's both the starting pitcher, and their best hitter, and this is all what they amounted to. Sometimes in baseball, 1 or 2 players can change the entire season.
I know, but it wasn't as transcendent as we've seen rookie sensations help teams push them into the postseason. All of that couldn't help the Angels push them. I feel like that is a factor as part of being an MVP. I feel like part of that is your effect on the team regardless.
Let me say this really quick.
So
I mean, I don't know how WAR would be calculated by adding a pitcher and a hitter. I don't know how that works, but his hitting WAR this season is where is it?
It's a 9.
So his hitting WAR this season was 9.
Right.
Oh, is that his total WAR?
I think Baseball Reference may even have to change their website to kind of because of his season.
Oh yeah, it is because his hitting WAR is a 4.9. His pitching was a 4.1.
All right, so they mash the two together. So
that's actually a lot lower than I thought it would be.
So it didn't have much of an impact on the Angels. I feel like Vlad Guerrero Jr. had more of an impact with the Blue Jays than Shohei had on the Angels. And I know it can be a little like okay, you're counting how he does with the team, but the team also matters in a way.
But the Blue Jays didn't even make it. And here, we're not here for moral stories, right, or moral victories. Blue Jays didn't make it, end of the day.
Oh, yeah, but right. They did better than the Angels.
Yeah, but still, if you're going to qualify of how much it got to your team even to the playoffs and they're not there, you know.
I take it into the same argument, like if you took the guy off the team, that's how I see the most valuable player. If you took the guy off the team, what would happen to the team? And the Blue Jays probably are the Angels without Vlad Guerrero Jr. And the Angels are the Marlins. And the Angels are the Marlins without Shohei. So that's how I see it. That's how I felt. That even with both. But okay, where are we? Oh crap! We're at the 1 hour mark. Whoa, sheesh, we didn't even do. Okay, when we come back, we'll after the halfway point, we'll just do like postseason like. Whatever predictions you want, especially because the game is about to start between the Yanks and the Sox, and that's going to be like a 4-hour game because it's always a 4-hour game between those two teams. But yeah, let's go to the a word from our non-sponsors, people, places, things, concepts, what have you, that we've been enjoying over the last week. So who would like to go first this week? Anybody? Any takers?
I'll go first.
All right, Charles.
I haven't gone in a bit. So, fellas. Charles likes his food. You know, and there's always something that I'll kind of give it. But usually when I speak about food, it's something that's more accessible to you guys. It's more of a franchise. It's more of a chain. It's anything that people can kind of go to. The last time we spoke about food, it was Cafe Minero, and we loved Cafe Minero. non-sponsor of the year. There's no chance that that's going to be beaten. But this place is 2 hours away, so I couldn't go there as often as I like. So instead, we kind of look into more local places by me. And today, I went somewhere for lunch, somewhere near court, and I was just pleasantly surprised because I've been living in my area for a very long time. I have been an attorney for long enough, and to not know that this little location was right where I was or where I go to court, it was kind of shocking. But it was suggested to me by a few people. I'm like, hey, why don't you try the Society Market Cafe in Marquette, Florida, Stewart? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why, whatever, why not? And I went, and damn good food, guys. I had the Yacht Broker wrap. It is like it's almost kind of like a club, but it's chicken, turkey, bacon, I think avocados in there, lettuce, and then some cheese. And they give you options of fries, a sweet potato fries. I went with the sweet potato. It's very hole in the wall-ish. It's right by a few law firms I know, so I was hiding, making sure that no attorneys see me, my little mask and everything as I'm creeping and I'm crawling. But the food was pretty high quality. It's good price. The taste was really good, and it was a big ass wrap. You know how sometimes you order a wrap and you know you're just gonna finish it in one sit in. It took some portions there, man. I was like, huh. And then I'm looking at that menu. They do breakfast, they do brunch, they have other lunch stuff, they have some sweets in there, and you know your boy loves some sweets. So I'm like intrigued. So it's like a non-sponsor. I feel like it'll be another non-sponsor down the line, something I had today. And when it comes to some places in downtown Stewart, they could be overpriced. I won't name some names of certain establishments, but y'all really jacked up some prices. This one I felt was fair, reputable, food tasted good. And when I came home right before the show, I had what's an ass wrap. Goof After Dark, Freddy, and I'll tell you. So it was just a big old wrap that kind of came into it. But I always like a little bit diversity in the foods as well. They have toast. They have other things in there. There's a few things that caught my eyes. The ribeye burgers look good. I like variety, and I'm a plain Jane sometimes with my meal, folks. Sometimes I don't want to see anything fancy. I'm not looking to have P.F. Chang's in my life. I want a burger to a burger. And side note, P.F. Chang's is not real Chinese food. I don't care what it says. It's not even Asian fusion. It's just kind of like, hey, I made this out of regular chicken and I put some teriyaki on it.
It's Asian Cheesecake Factory.
It is Asian Cheesecake Factory. There is no better way to explain it, but I'm intrigued to even go more. And I think that's what matters with non-sponsors, because sometimes it's when we do non-sponsors, like, hey, I want to suggest it for other people. And it's a place that I will want to go back to again to try it. So I was pleasantly surprised. I liked what I had there. I kind of want some now. They're closed. I only have it from, I think, like 8 to 3. So I don't necessarily do breakfast or sit in breakfast. I'm a protein shake kind of guy for breakfast. But if I ever did wake up early one day, it goes from there. And I see that there's an Oktoberfest, I guess, on that screen. So that's interesting. You know, it is that time of the year too, kids. Get yourself a nice, cool beer and knock it out. And fun fact, it's been 2 years since I went to Oktoberfest in New Orleans. That was a fun time when you go back there. But that is my non-sponsor. I almost forgot their name. The Supermarket Blues Cafe. Really like it a lot. Promo code for Freddy's sake, ass wrap.
That's a good one. Okay. All right. Well, let's. All right. I'm gonna go next. All right, guys. So the Xbox Game Pass. I think I'm maybe midway through my 3-month trial now, and I've had a lot of fun. Downloading a lot of games. Tried a lot of stuff like Cluster Truck and Piku Niku. That was a fun little indie title as well. I got my Halos in there. All right, I'm about to start 2 this week. That's gonna be fun, right? But guys, I was trying to look for something different a couple nights ago. It's like, man, what do I want to play, right? Amazon Prime Gaming for add Star Wars Squadrons. So now I have that in my backlog, you know. So that's part of that. I got Ghost Runner as well for free, or with my Prime account. So that's fun, you know, just in time for Halloween. I mean, this is all great and all, but you know, guys, sometimes you just need to frickin' mellow out. I don't do drugs, guys, but sometimes I play certain games that make me wish I did. And this is one of those games because, man, I really, really wish I could get some of that extra-ness that you get from a game like this. And it is Tetris Effect Connected.
Ooh, buddy.
Okay, so Tetris Effect Connected, guys. This is another Tetris game. Yes, we've all played Tetris. We've all played different varieties of Tetris, right? We've had Tetris 99. You got Super Tetris. You got Tetris on the Game Boy, right? You got Tetris 64, Tetris Worlds on your PS2. So many
Tetris
different.
on your phone.
Yeah, you got Tetris on your phone. You can play it on a web browser. Oh, just everywhere, right? It's Tetris. There's not much explaining it. It's addicting. It's fun, right? But there's an effect called the Tetris effect. It is an actual scientific term for when you start seeing patterns in your everyday life. Right? Some people play Tetris to the point where they dream about Tetris. They just see it all over the place. And that's happened to a ton of people. It happened to my dad. It happened to my dad somewhere around the late 90s when he got really into Tetris on our little computer with, I don't know what the resolution was. That was probably a 240p screen. And very, very tiny. And he was all over Tetris. But Tetris Effect, guys, connected. I played it on my gaming PC as part of my Xbox Game Pass subscription. You just want to mellow out. You want some EDM-ness to your Tetris. You want to trip balls while you're playing Tetris without tripping balls for real. But I'm sure tripping balls while playing Tetris Effect at the same time will put you on the most trippiest of balls. Then yeah, get this game, guys. It is an experience. I would say you should play this with and you see a ton of people there enjoying their time with Tetris Effect. Look at that. It's one of those games that just I can't explain the experience. It feels like something that's kind of like a corny type of thing. Okay, it's like DDR Tetris. No, it's Tetris but with this oomph, this surreal oral oomph to it that really
we call that trance music.
Yeah. You go on a trance, you trip balls, what have you. It is amazing. It's on everything. It comes out on the Switch this week, so get your new get your new Switch OLED models, get your OLED models this Friday. Get Tetris Effect, get Metroid, because that'll probably be the non-sponsor next week, guys, for sure. And yeah. I'm loving it. I already got a few achievements on this. I'm addicted already. I'm addicted. So, promo code Tripping Balls. All right, Andrew, you got to be ass rap and tripping balls for your promo code. Let's see what you got.
Oh, I'm not going to be able to beat those. I can guarantee that. But my non-sponsor this week is Lipton Iced Tea.
Oh, classic.
Yes, Lipton Iced Tea. It's not sweet tea, which I will say I prefer sweet tea. But Lipton Iced Tea, it's got a nice lemon kick to it. It's very refreshing. It goes good with any meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It's a nice little sweet thing to get your day going right. I actually have some with me right now as I take a sip.
I just have a Kermit the Frog image in my head of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good stuff, man. I really like it. And plus, it comes in big containers, so if you have a big event, you can make a crap ton of it and not run out, or you can just make it little by little.
Okay.
That's really all I have to say about it. Promo code Lemony Goodness.
Lemony Goodness. Okay, so there you go, guys. Those are our non-sponsors, right? All right, so let's move on. So Yankees and Red Sox game has started right
Uh,
now.
uh,
It has started. So
uh,
I may try and find it and put it on the screen a little bit. We'll see. But, okay, guys, postseason predictions before we move on to football. Who do you think comes out of the AL, out of the NL, and who wins the World Series? Anybody? Anybody wants to jump in here? Huh? All right, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I think the Houston Astros are going to do it again, guys. I feel like the Houston Astros are going to find a way to win this World Series. And I feel like they're going to do it against the Dodgers. I feel like the world, and I feel like baseball, and most of all, needs the Astros to beat the Dodgers in the World Series. Again. And this time without the trash cans and the buzzers. I feel like it would be a perfect story going into 2022. Because suddenly the Astros are not only a dirty team, but then they win it cleanly against the Dodgers. And what can LA say about that then? There's nothing. They can't say anything if they get beaten twice by them. I feel like that would be great. And it'd be even better if they did it by beating the same teams that they did in their initial run to win the World Series. Namely, the New York Yankees in the American League Championship as well. I feel
thank
like
you for putting us there.
I feel like this could happen, guys. The Astros have been playing really well. They won on a walk off to finish the season. They beat out the teams out west. It got closer than they thought. I'm sure they thought it would be, but it actually put a fire under their ass. And they themselves are on a vengeance tour to try and prove all the haters wrong that they could do it the right way. So here we go. That's my prediction. Astros beat the Dodgers in the World Series.
I don't disagree. But I have it. It's a rematch of last year. Rays Dodgers. Rays didn't lose much. The Dodgers, if they get through the Cardinals, I think have a very easy route going there. I still have reservations about the Giants. And then I feel like God's going to punish us, or the baseball gods are going to punish us, because it's going to be like the White Sox get it, because none of us have mentioned the White Sox as any legitimacy. But what is really between the Red Sox and the Yankees, we're beating the hell out of each other. I can't speak. We're going to beat the hell out of each other. There's going to be that fatigue. The Rays are rested. I think they'll beat them. If they met the White Sox, they'll beat them. I don't disagree with the Astros, but here's the thing. I don't know their pitchers anymore. Zach Greinke's kind of like falling off slightly, and there's no Verlander to kind of complain about juice balls. So, I also like the idea of rivalries in the World Series, and it's not as if the Rays were a one-hit wonder. We talked about that early in the season. I'm kind of going for now, but I do have the Dodgers, because even though the Giants won that division, I don't think any of us really said that is really the competition in the NL. And until I see the Dodgers act differently, and they only got stronger with the trade season, like they lose Mr. Mr. I'm going to get paid for extended leave, Trevor Bauer, but then they get Scherzer, which is a class act guy, and Trey Turner, Corey Seager's still around. That's the only thing that could screw them over is Kelly Jansen, but I think it's going to be the Rays and the Dodgers. Again, I think thankfully it'll kind of go to 6 or 7 games, and I give it to the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm. Andrew, what about you?
Who do I think is gonna win it all?
Who do you think is going to win it all? Yeah, just who do you think is going to win it all? There you go. Just that.
I mean, honestly, my kind of general thinking on any sport is that unless there's major changes to their roster, I give the benefit of the doubt to the reigning champion. So in this case, I think it would be the Dodgers, and I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible because I want the Rays to win, I think the Rays have a good shot of winning. We've bolstered a few areas in our lineup. We have Nelson Cruz now. Some of our younger guys are kind of maturing a bit. Wander Franco is in, and he's playing out of his mind. And plus, now we get Randy Arozarena again for another postseason, and he killed it last year. But my general thinking is, unless you don't lose a ton of roster, I say that the onus is on, or my projection is, whoever was the last winner, if they're still in, they're going to win. And the Dodgers have only gotten better since last year. They have freaking Mad Max on the roster now, the heterochromatic master of pitching that he is. Yeah, man, they're going to be tough to beat again. I will say, whoever it is, I don't want it to be the Astros. The Astros can go to hell.
Oh man!
But I think the Rays have a good shot again. I mean, we won 2 games last year in the World Series against these Dodgers, and honestly, if it wasn't for a major comeback of epic proportions against the Braves, I think we would have won the World Series. The Braves blew it.
Yeah.
They were up 3-1 in the series.
What in the World
Something
Series?
of that effect.
Or
No.
Oh no, the American. Yeah. Oh yeah, the ALC. Yeah, they were. It was because it was both them and the Braves that were choking, and then you guys got dragged together in Game 7, while the Braves did what Atlanta teams do.
Right.
But
I think if the Braves had advanced to the World Series, I think we would have won.
Yeah, he would have won. He would totally beaten them.
But I mean, again, like I said, the Dodgers have essentially their same roster from last year. In fact, they've gotten better. So, yeah, until someone proves otherwise, they're the team to beat. And the odds makers have it that way as well.
Okay. All right. Okay, guys. We have to discuss this. We're going to move on to football. And I feel like we should do something that merges both realms of football together, both the pros and the college side. Let's talk about Urban Meyer going to Horny jail.
Whew. We should have prefaced more than that.
Well, let's preface it, Charles. Urban Meyer, head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's going swimmingly. It's going as well as everyone thought it would, except for the Jaguars for some reason. I saw a tweet. Maybe the cons will get him to be an AEW or something. Like that. They gotta use him somehow, right? They're gonna be paying him, right, as soon as he leaves for USC.
Everybody loves a good heel. He'll be Big Papa Pump 2.0. So, backstory: Big Papa Pump was Scott Steiner's character in WCW. Big Papa Pump has got the hookup holler, if you hear me, pure like machismo misogyny that kind of came on back in those days when you do it 20 years ago. That's gonna be him. Just all you gotta do is get Urban the bleach his hair, get a beard out, get the shades on. It's gonna be beautiful.
All right, so first, Andrew, is RCFB talking about this?
Not really.
Even with all the speculation that he's gonna be.
I mean,
first off, it happened in Columbus, Ohio.
Well, hold on. Let me explain something from the mod side of it. we don't allow discussion in the main Reddit. Whatever goes on in the Discord server is,
Free reign.
whatever goes on goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Freddie says
the
we have been.
in the Discord server though.
Oh, okay.
In terms, I just want to make that distinction. Our CFB has the Reddit side of it, but it has its own Discord server as well. The Reddit side of it, we don't allow, with some exceptions, any discussion of non-college football, unless it's someone who died. Like, for example, Don Shula, we mentioned, I posted something about his death because he did coach in college. Or, what was it? I think a few years ago there was some pro player that talked shit about a college team. We'd allowed that in. It was kind of an edge case, but ultimately, because it was a non-college player making the statement, but it did relate to a college team. But generally speaking, with some exceptions, once they're out of college football, they're no longer a topic of discussion on the Reddit. The Discord is a whole different story. And the Twitter account as well has a bit more lax rules. It more because it just discusses any sort of current topics. But the Discord is all over that thing. And Freddie can probably clue me in more because I haven't been around the Discord server that much since it broke. But it's big news, man. How do you expect people to react to this? It's someone came up with a kind of a circle of how Urban Meyer, let me see if I can pull it up, how Urban Meyer gets out of teams.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I mean, is his heart in it?
Oh, the blood rushed from his heart to
so
some other region.
It's from a Twitter called Corked Bats. So the cycle is this: gets hired. You know those cycles, like it says one thing and it says another, and it just wraps back around.
The Sonic cycle. Yes, I understand that one.
Gets hired, finds instant success, reports or scandal arises, steps down for health reasons and or to spend more time with family, immediately starts new job as a TV analyst, rumored for open job, gets hired, and the cycle continues. So
made a dentist
I found it.
So we are currently in the reports or scandal arises portion of the cycle. Except the finding except we just skipped over instant success entirely. And I was telling Charles this, and Charles, you got to believe me here. You keep thinking I'm like a bandwagoner or a traitor or whatever, or not really my heart into it, but I mean it when I say, ever since they hired Meyer, well, not since I was 1 foot out the door when they hired him. The second foot was out the door when they hired that strength coach from Iowa. At that point, I'm like, I'm done. I'm out of here. I fought against my baser urges to come back because they had Trevor Lawrence, but it was like, no, I've got more principle than that, and it's paid off for me. Even if I don't care if the Bucks never win another Super Bowl, which I hope they do, obviously, but the Jacksonville Jaguars are just imploding before our very eyes. It's unreal.
Well, SB Nation has on their secret base YouTube channel has a collapsed video about the Jacksonville Jaguars and how they just completely fell apart after choking the AFC Championship game.
RCFB's Twitter account. Speaking of the RCFB Twitter account, it says breaking: the Jacksonville Jaguars are in talks to join the AAC.
Oh man. So, yeah, but great things are coming out of this, guys. Great things are coming out of this. I mean,
Twitter. And the memes have been fantastic.
The memes are great. I
was spamming you guys everything I could find about it because I'm an immature child.
I mean, it's been. Was it one of the Barry McCockner accounts? That
was it the one where the guy was getting grinded on and he like fell down? Is that the one I sent you?
There's several of them. There's several. I mean, we could just type in Urban Meyer on Twitter and just stuff will come up, right?
The one that said Urban Meyer's wife with the Jacksonville Jaguars dancing killed me. I just tapped out. I was like, the internet wins today.
Yeah. It's great. It's great, guys. It's great.
And
so have you all seen the video?
Yes. I mean, it's hard to miss the video if you're on Twitter. Especially on our accounts, right?
And the thing is, it was up there for a minute. It was up there for a minute, but somehow got taken down. But as you know, the second anything goes up on social media, it's there forever. Someone's going to make an archive of it, take a screenshot of it. It's like... I mean,
oh god! NFL memes. Urban Meyer continues to make terrible decisions when it comes to tight ends.
See, this is what kind of gets me is the fact that I had to play devil's advocate a little bit because when you look at all the things that, especially other coaches and other sports, Rick Pitino, holy shit. I'm trying to figure out what's the worst thing of why Urban Meyer's being grilled into it. He was at a dance and let some lady grind up on him, and they're making it into a Scarlet Letter effect. This is what I'm trying to tell myself to be his guy, his defense, his everything. But it's the hypocrisy of the thing that the first thing the man said is own it as the team motto. That was his whole thing. The guy who's kind of saying, I know how to coach adults aside from young men. And if you're about principles, and listen, this is 21st century, this is 2021. I don't care if Urban's bringing 3rd or 4 or 5 people into the bedroom. Dude, that's not my place. I don't care. But Urban is probably one of those most unapproachable, unrelatable. I couldn't give any empathy or sympathy to him as an individual coach in any sport. And if you're coming to it with the innocuous thing is him, getting right on, and mind you, I'm going to say something I don't know if people know this to do. Urban's hands were somewhere else. I'm just saying it. Go ahead. Put the slander on me. Urban, you hear me? I know where your hand was. But if everything else is like, what's going on here? But I just find it curious that you would have like Bobby Petrino on a bike over in the days of Arkansas or LSU crashing with the graduate assistant. Rick Pitino legitimately trying to hush out a non-discreet sexual encounter with somebody and offer an abortion and also bring hookers and parties and stuff like that to the college kids. And then we're not even grilling them the way we're grilling Urban Meyer. That's bad about what it speaks to you and your reputation and how unlikable you are as a person and coach.
Oh, man. How old is this man?
57 years old.
He's 57 years old.
I was doing the cross comparisons, man. You know who you never see getting grinded out? Andy Reid. Because no one goes to the Waffle House.
Urban Meyer is 57 years old.
You know what killed me is the fact that he wore an Ohio State polo, and I bet all the UF fans were like, that hoe. Seriously. Like he didn't get national championships in Florida. We know who he truly is loyal to.
Oh, man.
Listen, here's the thing. And kind of going back to what Charles was saying on hypocrisy. you know, if he's unmarried, and it's consensual, you do you, man. I mean, he's not the only person who's in a huge age gap disparity relationship. But it's the fact that he is married, and then B, that he said he was, B, that he didn't go back with the team.
Yeah, after they lost. After they lost. Too.
Which in of itself is really weird, unless you're USC and you leave Lane Kiffin stuck on the tarmac when you fired him, but that's another story. But to not go back with the team, you say it's to spend time with your grandkids. It's still a bit weird to not go back with the team, but fine. You are in Ohio. Maybe that's your way of decompressing after a tough loss.
Oh, he decompressed all right.
But then to do that... He
was just getting grinded on at Denny's.
But then to do that, and on top of that, to basically pawn off the blame on someone else, to say, oh, the evil voodoo dragged me in. It's like,
wait,
no,
what did he say?
No, you horny bastard.
So basically, what happens is he heard
fun.
R. Kelly Bump and Grind playing in his AirPods.
Ooh, let's stay away from R. Kelly, man.
I'm not staying with R. Kelly, obviously. Urban Meyer didn't stay with R. Kelly.
But yeah, it's
look at Urban's hands. All I'm saying on that video, he's covering the right hand.
Oh yeah,
the left hand's moving, son.
Well, yeah,
I cannot confirm or deny these things.
He knew what he was doing, without a doubt.
Oh yeah. Oh, wait till he goes to Los Angeles.
He should just go to jail for that entire attire.
Oh boy.
Oh,
At 57, you wear shorts above the knee.
Someone pointed out. Oh, by the way, two other social media things to mention. One is that, and I can't confirm this independently, but it looks legit. Back when Meyer was a TV analyst for Fox Sports on college football, he had a criteria to examine for struggling teams, and it has 3 prongs: trust issues, dysfunctional environment, selfishness.
Says the man who, basically coached and fostered a serial killer.
And then another one on top of that, again, I can't confirm it independently, but it, again, looks legit. Apparently, a similar or the same type of shirt that Meyer was wearing on the infamous night, the current Ohio State head coach Ryan Day wore in a press conference today. It's a 1/4 zip up kind of jacket polo.
Look at this.
We just love this. I love it.
Look at this graphic right here. Urban Meyer criteria to examine for struggling teams, according to Urban Meyer: 1, trust issues; 2, dysfunctional environment; 3, selfishness. I mean, right, Andrew? I mean,
exactly.
There's a literal image and video of this. Well, okay, guys, enough about Urban Meyer. The Yankees are down 2-0, by the way. Xander Bogaerts with a 2-run home run.
Called it. I knew this was going to happen. Literally said it how he mentioned it. I've accepted my fate.
Oh, boy. So that's happening right now. Yanks are up, but we'll see. We got 2 outs right now. Okay, Andrew, anything of note from college football this week? My beloved Cincinnati Bearcats, guys. I've been a Bearcats fan since 1950, and it's been really good. It's been really good being a Bearcats fan, guys. Go Fighting Cats.
Okay. Well.
Meow roar. Is that what they do? Is that what they do in Cincinnati? Meow roar? I don't know.
Well, anyway, let me just break down a little bit since I did tell Freddie I was going to bring up Fred rank for NFL and college football. His top 25 is in order: Alabama, Georgia, Iowa, Penn State, Cincinnati, Oklahoma, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Oklahoma State, BYU, Michigan State, Notre Dame, Kentucky, Mississippi, aka Ole Miss, Arkansas, Auburn, Wake Forest, Florida, Texas, Coastal Carolina, Arizona State, Clemson, SMU, and North Carolina State. It has been a very, very interesting season so far. I believe there were 9 ranked teams this past week that lost. I mean, admittedly, 4 of them were in ranked versus ranked games, so there was going to be a guaranteed rank loss. But there were 5 ranked versus unranked that lost. One of the most stunning was Stanford taking down Oregon in overtime, number 3 Oregon. People are starting to liken this season a little bit to 2007. 2007 was the most chaotic season in history.
That was the year App State beat Michigan, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It was the curse of the number 2, where the number 2 team kept losing each week, basically. It would take
Nothing made sense.
It would take a miracle for another season to match that. But this is a pretty chaotic season so far. I think 30-something ranked losses so far. I guess hold on. I had a couple of people tell me what were some of the big headlines that I should cover. One of them, I believe they mentioned, was Georgia. Georgia is on fire.
Rolling.
Right
They
now.
are rolling.
They're rolling. They have a legitimate argument to be the number 1 team in the country. Hell, they are the number 1 team in the RCFB poll, which I would argue is a more fair and a more fair ranking system, because it's so many people going in and giving their opinions instead of just 60-something people doing it. Here you've got hundreds of people doing it. Georgia just overtook Alabama. Those 2 are really just duking it out for 1 and 2. It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the season goes, because right now those 2 they're headed for a conference championship matchup in December, and honestly, I think whoever wins out of the SEC, if those 2 teams are still in it, whoever wins out, they're going to win the national championship. Because right now,
Hooray. Same old. SEC
because
teams.
right now it's basically 1 and 2, Alabama, Georgia,
and then the rest.
Pretty decent gap than everyone else.
Okay, so let's keep going.
Another thing I wanted to mention, my weekly breakdown of our respective teams.
The Seminoles actually won a game.
Yes! And it's funny. There was a trivia question last week. RCFB Trivia is something that I help run. We do a Trivia Tuesday each week. The question last week was, who are the 2 Power 5 teams to still be winless? It was Arizona and Florida State. I guess they were annoyed with us using them in a question because they decided to go ahead and win. Much to my chagrin, because I like the memes.
Yeah. All right, so we won a game. How about them Hurricanes?
Um,
How about them Canes?
for the Hurricane. Oh man. Oh man. I remember watching that.
Oh,
Um,
okay. So
there
somebody,
are
so just before you say, so because of the two teams that play in the current but also former home of the my beloved Florida Marlins, and someone said that the stench that is emanating in South Florida around the Miami Gardens area does not come from the nearby landfill. It indeed comes from Hard Rock Stadium. A reporter in Miami, I think for the Miami Herald, wrote that to summarize what's going on with the two teams that play their home games there.
yeah, things are not going well right now in Miami Gardens. Um, Doink alert! Doink alert! Uh, that was a chip shot, and funny enough, the Miami kicker is the brother of I forget his name. I forget the name of the current kicker, but he's the younger brother of Jose Borregales, who was the FIU's kicker for a few seasons until he transferred over to Miami in 2020. But he had. They always say, chip shot, field goal, whatever. The dude had a chip shot field goal. He was dead center in the field, probably like barely a 30-yarder, and doinks it off the left post. It was fantastic. You love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
There are the teams I love to see lose. Number one, obviously, is South Florida, but I'd say number two is Miami.
It's always fun, right? Because the
And a close
people are going
three is
nuts for
Florida.
it.
And a close three is Florida.
Yes,
Um,
indeed. Oh, we'll laugh at them too.
Yeah, well, I can't really laugh at them.
I know Kentucky has they're undefeated, they're ranked 16, but they're still a basketball school, for God's sake.
Right. And actually, someone made a joke about that in the Trivia Tuesday. One of the question was, who is the leading passer in Kentucky history? And the person commented, said, that's an unfair question. You can't score touchdowns in basketball.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Miami, you love to see it. And I mean, admittedly, their first loss, you kind of expected it to happen, was against number one Alabama in Atlanta, which is basically home field advantage for Alabama. 44-13 loss. Like, we kind of saw it coming. App State takes them down to the wire, 25-23 in Miami Gardens. They just sneak that thing out.
If only they had lost there.
And I'm not saying that App State is a bad team; they're good. But if you're a team that thinks you're in the running for conference championship or whatever, that's a team you should be able to dispatch easily. Couldn't do it. Got demolished by Michigan State. They held it close for a bit. Oh wow, Freddie! He has them making a bowl at 5-7.
All right, 5-7.
The Durex Condom Bowl.
And then they had a nice result against Central Connecticut State, 69-0.
Nice.
Nice.
But
even then, like, barely anybody saw it. Like, it was just like the apathy here in Miami. Oh.
Then you have a doink alert against Virginia. A game that, again, shouldn't have been that close, but no.
Manny Diaz only getting the job because his dad was like the mayor or something a long time ago.
Right.
Nepotism.
Interesting. He has them in the First Responder Bowl against Houston because their current quarterback, Eric King, transferred in from Houston last year.
I can't believe the Panthers spent money on this kid. I hope it's that. I hope that.
South Florida sucks.
I hope that's the only bad decision they've made in this offseason. Please.
So sticking in South Florida, we're going to go with FIU.
Nobody cares.
I care because they're my alma mater.
People are already telling us to fire Butch Davis.
So, and I don't think they're firing him just yet. You know, he's been their, believe it or not, their most, as far as I recall, he's their most successful head coach. Strangely enough.
That's probably true. He has FIU losing out though, Freddie. So he says next. Don't talk about it.
Before I move on, I do want to see if he is their most successful head coach. Yes, he is, because Cristobal went to 2 bowl games, 2010 and 2011. I believe 2010 was a conference championship winning season. Co-champion. 2011 was... Yeah, so 2010 was their best season, individual season. They won the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl 34-32. But Cristobal only went to 2 bowls, 2010, 2011, and then for some godforsaken reason, FIU decided to fire him in 2012. And look where he is now. He's leading the top 10 Oregon Ducks. And then, but Butch Davis, though, is their most successful head coach in terms of how many bowls they've been to. They've been to 3 bowls. They went to the 2017 Gasparilla Bowl, the 2018 Bahamas Bowl. They did win that, their second bowl win. That was 35-32 over Toledo. And then last year was the Camellia Bowl against Arkansas State, which they lost 34-26. Here we go.
So Freddie's got his predictions for the...
Yes, FSU is 2-10. South Florida's 3-9. FAU is 9-5, UCF is 8-5, and UF is 10-3. What do you have as Miami?
5-7.
Oh, duh, right.
Yeah.
But anyway, FIU lost last week to FAU in the Shula Bowl 20, 58-21, which the score is a little bit deceiving because they did hold it close in the first half. And there were actually, believe it or not, there were points when FIU 6-7 after the bowl win. There were points, believe it or not, where FIU was in the lead over FAU. But in the second half, it just fell apart completely, and that's the score you get, 58-21. I was honestly surprised they kept it as close as they did. This week's game is Friday at home at the Cage. It's against the Charlotte 49ers starting at 7 p.m. Friday. Will be broadcast on CBS Sportsnet. Miami has an off week this week. Florida State is playing the North Carolina Tar Heels at Keenan Memorial Stadium in Chapel Hill Saturday, starting at 3:30 on ESPN. UCF lost 34-30 to Navy.
Trash.
That one hurt. I will fully admit that one hurt a lot. You know, I will admit maybe can be a bit of a pain in the ass because they do run the triple option and that can be tough to defend. But that is still a game that we should win. Not to give an excuse, but just to preface.
Sounds awfully like an excuse there, bud.
Gosh.
But anyway,
I'm not gonna let him slander Miami and let him get away. Tell us how you lost to a team that's not even a real football team. Come on.
In fairness, our starting running back, our number 1 wide receiver, our starting quarterback, and I think 4 of our starting defensive players are all out with injuries.
Okay.
Again, if your team has depth, that really, I mean, yes, that's still going to hurt.
Well, no
But
one
if
wants
your
to play for
team,
UCF, is what you're telling us, right? Right, Francisco? That's what he's telling us.
Uh,
what?
what? Well,
That's why you don't have the depth.
all I could
You don't
say
have the
is that was
talent.
no excuse for the Indianapolis Colts, and they somehow beat the Dolphins. Oh wait,
I
no,
mean,
the Dolphins are worse than a college football team. Never mind.
I mean, let me, to get to your point, Charles. Yes, I mean, if you lose that many people, we actually lost one of our defenders in the game. Should have held on to DJ Mack. Yeah, I know. What can you do though? DJ Mack was our second string to Gabriel, but he transferred to Old Dominion this year to be a starter. And I don't know how ODU is doing this year, but best of luck to him. He's an awesome quarterback, and if we still had him, I don't think there would have been any issues going forward. But the kid deserves to start. He certainly can start. I mean, in 2018, he led us to the Fiesta Bowl, despite the fact that Mackenzie Milton went down with his leg injury the week prior. He's no Taylor Heineke. Well, actually, Taylor Heineke's doing pretty well. But anyway, so long story short, if your team has depth, having that many losses won't hurt as much. But when you have your new quarterback is a true freshman who's seen maybe 10 total snaps of action in a game against Bethune-Cookman, he did surprisingly well considering. But yeah, hopefully the injury bug. I honestly had never heard of Taylor Heineke before this season, so I didn't know that he went to ODU. He could have gone to Bethune-Cookman for all I know. So hopefully the injury bug will kind of get off our back a little bit. I still have hope for a pretty good result this year. I think Freddie's 8-5 prediction is pretty on point. I was saying like 7 to 8 wins this season for us. I know some people think that we're not even going to make it to a bowl, but those people are insane. I think we're beyond the point where we have to worry about bowl eligibility, hopefully. And then last but not least, no, actually, yeah, I covered everyone.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, hold on. So we are one out. Okay, we're at 152.
I didn't miss you putting up Fred rank, did I?
Well, you ran through it. You ran through it though.
I did, yeah. I didn't send them the
actual physical. Oh, but that's fine. Yeah. So, in the end, Urban Meyer is a horny bastard. Oh man. Well,
oh wait, I'm sorry. Can we have to use a phrase? Nuck if you buck. For anybody who remembers that song back in the day, we brought it all together. I love it.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so I guess we can move on to the NFL because guys, the Carolina Panthers are a terrible team, and I can't deal with losers like that. So I'm gonna have
to hurt before.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to jump into a different bandwagon, guys, and just because I need to give Charles get under his skin a little bit, my new bandwagon are the Green Bay Packers.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Because I love Aaron Rodgers. He's a good dude, guys. He's a good dude, and the Green Bay Packers. I've been a fan of them since 1940, and I'm all about the cheese head. I love different kinds of cheese. I like brie. I like Munster. I got Munster cheese. Good old mozzarella. Good old American cheese. All kinds of cheese, guys. I'm all into it. I'm gonna go to Culver's one day, and just get all that Wisconsin-y goodness. And so I'm a huge Packers fan, man. I love the Packers, man. Go Lambeau. Go Pack, go. So. Yeah, they're my new team, guys, because the Carolina Panthers lost to the Dallas Cowboys, and they are a fraudulent team. I was misled by Charles's recommendation of them last episode. So I've changed to a team that he would never recommend to me, and that is the Green Bay Packers. So we'll see.
Just run through that hate train. That's what you need to do.
All right, so games. Oh boy. Oh, let me start with the Miami Dolphins are terrible for everybody out there because they are. The Miami Dolphins are a terrible football team, and at this point, I think they're actually an improv group that is disguised as an NFL team. Because what they did against the Indianapolis Colts really, really made me laugh. I mean, that was whose line is it anyways type of comedy right there. I loved it. I loved it. I laughed out loud many, many times. And of course, I texted Doug during the game. So I will read off some of the texts that we were sending back and forth to each other while we were watching the Dolphins. The first one that I sent to him was, "Why do I keep watching?" Doug said, "We can't help ourselves." I said, "This is abusive." I laughed at that last sack. What a joke of an offensive line. I said that I'm so glad that I've never paid to see the Miami Dolphins, which is a true statement. I've never paid my way into Hard Rock, or whatever you want to call it, stadium at any point in my lifetime, and for a Dolphins football game, and I'm glad because they do not deserve any of my money. And I put, "This is comedy," and then Doug saw my text right before the punt, and it's like, Jesus, that was when Jakeem Grant dropped a punt.
That's why he got traded.
Yes, he did get traded already. So that's great. And Doug also texted, "I remember Jakeem Grant trying to catch as many footballs as he could during training camp. He should have just focused on one." That's right. There was a drill where there were multiple balls in the air, and he was I don't know what the point of that was, but he was trying to catch them that way, and apparently it didn't work. They were wearing their throwback jerseys, guys, because they were honoring Don Shula. So they had a ton of Dolphins alumni, including guys from the undefeated team, pop on over. They had Dan Marino there, and they thoroughly embarrassed anybody who was associated with the Dolphins on that day. And I told them to get those throwback jerseys off of them because they don't deserve to wear those beautiful, beautiful uniforms. I texted a gif of Ron Burgundy where he was like, "We are laughing." And then I texted the Florida Panthers regular season schedule to Doug, and I said, "Opening night can't come soon enough." And then there became a point where I just put on the Marlins game because it was the final game of the season, and I couldn't deal with it. And then Doug texted me that he was still watching. Devontae Parker was taking over the game. I said it was garbage time, and I was ready for 2022. And I said fuck the Dolphins, and yeah. So that was the Dolphins football game, guys. That's my recap of what would happen. Sounds like Bishop Sycamore. Yeah. I think
No. I was referring to Freddie because he said the Ottawa Red Blacks of the CFL are playing 3 games in 10 days.
That's funny. But at the same time, I think the Dolphins are kind of like Bishop Sycamore. I don't think they're a real football team.
But they're not even the worst team in the NFL, though.
They're not, but they are a joke. And yeah. All right, so let's run down, Charles. Well, your beloved Tennessee Titans.
Y'all plan on that. We are in the second worst division.
Someone's gonna win that division by default, basically.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be us. We have Burnin' Urban.
I didn't think you told me because we texted it in the group chat.
To me. I told you.
You agree? Yes. I didn't think the defense was lose to the New York Jets bad. I didn't think it was that. Wow.
I had no sweat about it because you have to look at that division itself. We have the Colts, who, if it was anybody but the Dolphins, they would have won, or they would have lost. You have Burn and Urban, leading the Jaguars. We're good there. You have Davis Mills leading the Texans. I ain't sweating it. We had no Julio, we had no AJ Brown, and we still nearly won it. It's a bad defense. So it's like it's life. I'm not sweating about it.
So
we made Zach Wilson look competent. Good for Robert Saleh.
You guys are gonna
There's
go.
some losses. 9-8 is gonna win that.
9-8.
The division.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Oh, Freddie has it 8-9. So
8-9.
I like to think, Freddie, that they'll come to some kind of conclusion or like stuff. Here's the thing: do you want to be the team that just lives up to the hype, or do you want a team that gets hot at the right time?
Yeah, if they win their last 4 games going into the postseason, then yeah, right. That'd be a nice.
We have a hairy hand, even if we lost.
That's The Titans can find a way to turn it on and see if they can make a run at it with the.
The defense is bad.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to point out. We don't have Bud Dupree. We don't have competent corners. It was not a Corey Davis revenge game. It was the fact that Fulton just lets things just go by him because he doesn't know how to read. Because the difference between SEC defense and the real defense that gets played out in the AFC. So we'll see.
All right, so let's hop on the hate train. The Arizona Cardinals are undefeated.
I'm not going to acknowledge that. I'm still not going to acknowledge it. Y'all already know.
They beat the LA Rams 37-20. I mean, they're 4-0.
This just validates what I've been saying for a long time, that Sean McVay's incompetent at times. When the whole look is on him, when all eyes are on him, he just poops his bed real quick. He just does a little poopy pants. Okay. He does poopy pants.
All right. Ben Roethlisberger lost to Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, I love it.
So the hate bowl for Charles right there.
Yeah.
But my beloved Green Bay Packers won in the end. And, man, everybody's surpassing Dan Marino this week. It seemed like it was Roethlisberger, it was Brady, it was Rodgers, all surpassing him in, like, touchdowns and yardage and all that stuff. So there you go. What a great way to honor John Shula's life for the Dolphins to do that this week, right? Just to add that on top of that. Okay. The loss... Yeah, I was about to say San Diego again, but Los Angeles Chargers, they're 3-1. They beat the Raiders. Herbert, first QB since 1950 to reach 500-plus completions before his 20th start. The Dolphins may have gotten it wrong, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. The Red Sox are winning 3-0.
Yeah. It's all coming together, the big plan.
Oh, boy.
We are not going to have Aaron Boone tomorrow as a coach, and it's going to be, or manager, and it's going to be so good.
All right. So Cincinnati Bengals, 3-1, right? Well, they face the Jaguars, but they're 3-1. So look at that. Look at the AFC North, all 3-1 teams right there. There you go. The New York Giants actually won a game, guys. They beat the Saints.
The New Orleans Saints.
Yeah. So that was fun. The Vikings are still a bad team. We all knew this. They lose to Cleveland. The Bears, they beat the Lions. The Lions are awful. We all know this. They are the worst team in football. Washington barely beat Atlanta, but they won. There you go. Seattle beat San Francisco. They're 2-2. The Cardinals may win the division just because the other teams are beating up on each other. Charles,
I will not acknowledge them.
It looks like it could happen. They've already beaten the LA Rams. They're 4. Like, it could be that. It could be that situation. And Baltimore beat Denver, and then Tom Brady goes back to New England and wins.
More like Bill Belichick pooped the bed, just like Sean McVay, because he's got no nuts, no glory.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Chiefs won.
I mean, to be fair, it was a doink of a kick, so he almost made it.
Anything that stuck out to you, Charles, before we move on? We get to the cage.
The only thing I'll comment on is Daniel Jones is looking competent. and that scares me for any of my Giant fans who are, my Giant friends or friends who are Giant fans. How about that, Charles? Use your words on the idea that they got to be stuck with that for another season. Yeah, we don't want to do that whatsoever. But that's all I got. I mean, everything. This is a wash. That's the thing. Like, even though the first quarter of the season is done, really nothing. Everybody's kind of where they're at. 2-2 for us. Miami is actually where I expected them to be at 1-3. Andrew's beloved Jacksonville Jaguars are 4 and hurting for Urban. And Tom Brady is still good. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's head on over to the cage, guys. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, let me put this controller down. I'm about to get real. Welcome everybody to your weekly Trueplex, The Cage with Charles. Full disclaimer: wrestling is not fake. It is scripted. It is a staged fight. It is a song and a dance about men and women chasing championships, chasing life, glory, beating the holy hell out of each other, trying to establish their legacy, and some pure old tomfoolery. This is a weird week for wrestling because nothing's kind of happening, but everything's kind of happening. On the AEW, NJPW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact, I almost call them TNA, but they're not TNA anymore. They yell at me for it. Ring of Honor, it's all like in between. It's all kind of out there. New Japan, they're still continuing the G1 Climax.
Oh.
I am certain.
Before our good buddy Brendan Rourke, guys, a tweet out here. Starting Cole, who's had a 6 ERA over those last 5 starts, probably wasn't the best idea. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, everybody. What is the? I feel like you should change the show from being Horny Jill to let's personally attack Charles on everything. Between this and then Andrew trying to defend UM.
It's not my fault. The football and the baseball gods all decided to take a crap on you this week, and nothing went along with your hate agenda. Didn't work. You'll eventually get Aaron Boone fired, right? So that'll happen.
Everything. I just feel like y'all are countermeasuring my grand scheme of plans because society cannot live in a world where I'm correct about everything. That's what it feels like. UM's this. Yeah, we didn't have to Eric King. You don't see us hiding behind. That'd be awesome, maybe. The Yankees. I'm like, I told you guys, Aaron Boone was trash. I'm gonna quote right now. I told my paralegal today, I would have pulled Cole after 4 innings. That's the game plan would have done to it, and here we are. The game is manageable at 3. It's not going to be manageable when it's 7-0. I've said that they are not good when they have the first 4 runs of the game or kind of giving up in those first 4 innings. But in the world of wrestling,
all right,
y'all can't hate it because this is some senpai stuff over here. I am daddy. I am master in this world, and I'm completely out of control when Vince McMahon does things. But the G1 Climax is going on New Japan Professional Wrestling. That's still going. Doesn't end until like later this month. As you know, whoever wins the G1 Climax gets a title shot. Not a lot of people that they could surprise me on, but go ahead, pull the trigger on Zack Sabre, Zack Sabre. I call him Sabre because I just think of that episode of The Office. But have him go be the one against Shingo Takagi for the time being, or you could do Great Khan from the United Empire. And what you could do is do a bait and switch where Khan vacates his spot for Will Ospreay because Will Ospreay is back. He's still wrestling, but he's not in G1 for whatever weird reason. Because the whole thing is when he came back from neck injury, had to vacate his title. Shingo got in the idea of, you're not a true champion. I'm the true champion. Sometimes storylines write themselves. Even though New Japan's not the soap opera place, it still could be something that I would be entertained if they made it to that way. Over on Impact, they introduced a new title. The Digital Media Championship? What?
That sounds like something they would give out at like a social media marketers convention or something like that.
Yeah, well, I think it's because they funnel through Impact Plus and that's their streaming service. They want to go from there. But
the Digital Media
Championship. Just put like Impact. I don't think they even released the design of it yet. But it's. You thought that 24/7?
I would hope it's pixelated. I would hope, right? I mean, come on.
I don't even know. Impact Digital Media. I'm just trying to make sure I got the name right. No, I think that's it. As my cat harasses me. Yeah, Impact Digital Media Championship. I don't know when everybody was
Is
crapping
that the
about
belt? Is that it?
that could be the belt.
That's what I see here. I mean, it's on their
But the
official
problem,
website or Twitter page.
but as you know, everything is always nice when you can airbrush certain things. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, why? Why don't you just call it the internet title? Plain and simple. Go from there. Have fun with it, or just make it work differently.
It
I don't
works, yeah,
know.
because that can work on a different level. Because it'd be like, oh, this guy wins the internet for today. You know, everybody that's a thing. That's a meme.
Yeah, and you want to stream it, you'll have matches exclusively to your streaming platform. But we complicate things with silly names. What can I say? It took a while for people even like Universal Championship, but then for the WWE, but people also like to hate everything WWE does. I get it. I understand. I'm part of the hate train. AEW, things happened. Waiting for more things to happen. It's kind of like the stalling moment for me. Nick Jackson and Daniel Bryan. Oh, I'm sorry, he's not that right anymore. Bryan Danielson put on a banger on Rampage Friday nights at 10. Um, we'll see. We'll see. They're going to have the 2-year anniversary of Dynamite coming on, to which they're going to do this big old ladder match. Whoever wins, it gets a title shot.
Hey, they're coming to Miami.
They're coming to Miami. Not risking the COVID for that, but it's still something to consider. But they have a Joker card, so that might be Hangman Page coming back in, but it's going to be a few people, Moxley, Archer, a few other people who will get an opportunity to go climb the ladder, get a future title shot. Sounds like Money in the Bank, doesn't it? Kind of is. I got to say, Darby Allin and MJF. MJF is such a good heel because he stays in character and he cuts it deep. And I don't know if Andrew's going to yell at me for one of the statements that he said about Darby Allin, but Darby Allin was in that little promo with CM Punk that you saw, the guy with the hood and the face paint. So MJF, his whole thing is getting in your head and doing the trash talking. And he basically called Darby. I was like, you're a cute guy with the school shooter look with the skateboarding. And my mouth was on the floor. Like, can you say that on TNT? You have Tony Khan,
It's cable.
who is the son of Shad Khan, who is embarrassing, Urban Meyer for loving Petey Pablo's Freaka League in the club, whereas he's not going to put Freaka League is fantastic stuff by Petey Pablo. Just so you kids know, North Carolina raised up. Yeah, it's the hair versus hair match, but bringing it back. But he's not going to penalize MJF on that statement, which I think is very egregious. But yet he penalized Max Caster for the rap that he put on Simone Biles. So it's very interesting if it's just kind of, preferential treatment. But they're still building some storylines of what they're going to do. The women's division's one thing. We have my boy, Adam Cole, Bebe, who's now on AEW, still feuding with Jungle Boy in a match they put on. Very interested in seeing what they're going to proceed, but right now it's kind of like the quiet time because they got to build up to Revolution, which I believe is in November. That's usually their very big pay-per-view. I'm very interested to see what they bring into it, especially since October 29th. There's a certain man who is going to be a free agent, Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda. The guy who used to be the Fiend, if they're going to put him in Dark Order, because they did last episode as the Brody Lee tribute show. They ended it with Miro and Sami Zayn. I watched that match. I thought it was good. I feel bad for Miro because he has redeemed himself, no pun intended, because his whole moniker is being the Redeemer and God's favorite champion. But it was good to see Miro's run, and I felt like it ended it too early, but there was no way that you're going to have the Brody Lee tribute show end with the heel TNT championship winning again. So, of course, it was going to go to Sammy. So my buddy Tony owes me to say that was right, and it was great. But AEW right now is a little bit on the standstill for me, to which I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens tomorrow when they have that ladder match and everything else they bring into it. WWE, I'm going to make it short but sweet when it comes into it. NXT still on, but NXT has now devolved to be just like I'll watch maybe the pay-per-views and then I will kind of just see the YouTube highlights if I'm told it's good stuff. You know what I mean? Like maybe I'll go with that one because it's kind of my cup of tea. It's kind of not my cup of tea. Yeah, that's the hard part for me. But that's where we're at with it. But over the week, starting Friday to now, there was a WWE draft. So what's a draft? It's a reshifting. It's a justification to put people on different brands because they won't end the brand split. They don't want to do a merger of things. So we're going to shift people all around. So what's some good news? On Raw, Raw got better. Raw now has Seth Rollins. Raw has the Street Profits. Trying to think, Finn Balor's on there now, so you're kind of like
I got the list up here.
Oh, thank you. You're a good man. Just like highlights of who I think they'll help out. coming into it. They broke up the New Day. I don't understand why. You literally brought them back together again to break them up. It's so stupid. They got a couple of women. They got Rey Mysterio in there. They got the other Mysterio, Dominic, who we don't care much for. It was fine. You got Mia Yim on there, so maybe she'll kind of get a reintroduction after being Reckoning. Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, break them up. I want to see what they can do by themselves. It's time. You split T-Bar and Mace, who used to be part of Retribution, but this is good because T-Bar can go back to being Dominic Dijakovic, who I enjoy thoroughly and immensely when he was in NXT. Bianca Belair is over there. This is my problem with the draft, Francisco and Andrew. They switched the titles, so now Becky Lynch, who was SmackDown Women's Champion, is now on Raw, but Charlotte is from Raw Women's Champion now to SmackDown, so we're just going to give the titles and trade her in. I don't like that because it's going to add on another reign for a new championship, and no one wants to be it. They did that last year when it was the New Day and the Street Profits who switched up, so now they're constituted as being a one-time Raw's tag team champion, one-time SmackDown champion, but they never won those said titles. So that's frustrating to me. It's got to kind of matter, man, because now you're just making out like it's candy at the school. It's not even candy at the school. It's the Valentine's Day card by the teacher because she has to give it to everybody, and you're so fugly that ain't no one want to be grinding on you like Burning Urban. So she has to make one for you, or he has to make one for you just so you feel accepted. Over on SmackDown, Drew McIntyre's on SmackDown. We know what this is leading to. It's going to be Drew beating Roman eventually. We already know. I told you this 6 months ago. I don't like it. I accept it because even I know that at some point Roman has to end and you have Big E win the Money in Bank and cash in on Bobby. So what can you do about it? Whatever. The SmackDown Tag Team division, though, is going to be baller. You have the Viking Raiders that went over there. You have Mansoor and Ali, who I'm dubbing them as the Arabian Knights, are over there. You have Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza going over there as tag teams, or I'm calling Latin Snakes Part 2. I have nicknames for everybody. It's great. Viking Raiders is actually not my own nickname, though. That is something that Vince McMahon created. So there's potential, as you know. Charlotte Flair is over there. There were some NXT call-ups. They're breaking up stables. They put Ridge Holland on Raw when it doesn't make sense because he hasn't even had an NXT thing. I'm glad that you did this, though, because I want to talk about one big long-term thing, so I'm glad you have the card here. So they put Jeff Hardy on Raw on SmackDown. Give me Jeff and Roman one time because the crowd will always be hot for Jeff. You have Ricochet on there, so it'll be interesting. Oh, no, Ridge went to SmackDown. Okay. They sent Kevin Owens to Raw as well, but he's on his way out, allegedly. They put Sheamus on SmackDown. I'm ready for this. Long-term booking, pal. Let me tell you this. Sheamus will challenge Shinsuke Nakamura for the IC title. He will beat Shinsuke. He will have the Intercontinental Championship. He will be a Grand Slam champion. That's when you have all the major titles. And then he will lose it to Cesaro, his former tag team partner and champion, for the Intercontinental title. And that will be Cesaro's big reward and big single title win for carrying SmackDown and some good feuds between Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. This is how I would book it, which means Vince is just going to fire everybody before it happens. But sometimes I like being right, just as how I'm excited about being right about Drew and Roman, even though it's going to hurt me. Hit Row, NXT, got called up. Hit Row consists of 4 wrestlers, most famous being Isaiah Swerve Scott, who happens to be NXT's North American champion, and he's never defended the title yet. So imagine what this means for a guy who hasn't defended the title going on the main roster, and I think he's a lot of potential, and then some because he's actually shown it. But you got to feel bad for Triple H. He's just trying to recover from having heart surgery. And then the guy who's actually a standing champion for him is now going to have to drop the belt. Because none of this stuff comes into effect until October 22nd after the Saudi pay-per-view, Crown Jewel, which we'll talk about a little bit more in the coming weeks. But we're getting Goldberg Bobby in a no-holds-barred match. Okay. We're getting Big E and Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Okay. Inconsequential since we know Drew's getting sent over, right? I'm not a big fan of it. We're probably getting Roman and, oh my God, no, don't tell me my brain's blanking. Oh, we're getting Roman Brock. How could I forget the beautiful Viking that I'm excited for? Roman is still on SmackDown. Brock is now just a free agent. They're bringing up the drama. Do I think the draft helped? Yes. Do I think I liked what they switched up the draft? No. Is it clear that SmackDown's still favored because they're on Fox and are getting that big Fox money? Obviously. Am I looking for new, fresh storylines? Possibly. The one thing I am happy about is that it seems that for the first time in a couple of years, the people drafted were not still feuding with each other. Case in point, for example, the Mysterios versus Seth Rollins. Other case in point example, when you had some of the women going against each other. I think the only feuds that carried over this time around was no, I'm thinking Sheamus and Jeff Hardy. That's what I'm thinking of. The feuds that are carrying over now is Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch are now going to be on Raw. And then you have the Street Profit. No, not the Street Profits that you said. Oh, Seth and Edge. Because Edge is coming back. He's still around. He's on Raw now, Andrew. He's probably going to be going against Seth at Crown Jewel, which should be good. Their matches have been stellar. There was a great promo that I got to send you guys. You got to give it time. All this stuff will matter come December, because you know what November is. It's Survivor Series, so that means it's going to be the battle for brand supremacy, even though half of these people just got switched up. But this is really just kind of leading us into the next couple of months and then starting WrestleMania season, which is fine, because I'm ready for it. I'm ready for Roman to beat Drew. No, I'm sorry, Drew to beat Roman, be Universal Champion. I could eat my crow and hate it, so Roman can get Rock at main event at WrestleMania on the second night over in Austin, and I will be focused on that. And then you're going to have Drew just kind of like do something with his life. I like Drew. I don't like him as a face. I want him as a heel. That's really what it comes down to. The guy's like 6'4", Scottish badass called the Scottish Psychopath. There are things that matter. I think it would have been fine. And that's all I got for you this week on The Cage, guys. More to come next week.
All right. Okay, guys. So we're coming up at the end, but just a little preview for next week. So next week, NHL season's about to start, guys. Yes, we're gonna get into it. October 12th, the defending champion Tampa Bay Lightning against the Pittsburgh Penguins in Tampa, and the brand new team, the Seattle Kraken, in Vegas, take on the Golden Knights. So that's gonna happen. That's gonna be great. I'm excited. I want it to happen. So that'll happen on our next show, because it is October 12th. And yeah, man, I can't wait. Actual hockey. Thank you. I don't have to focus on the stupid Dolphins anymore. Okay.
Let me ask you, who's going to be your bandwagon team when the Panthers suck ass?
Oh no, don't. Come on now. They didn't
Look,
last season.
You both came at me pretty hard today.
Hey, no.
So I'm putting that out there.
The Panthers, as much as they frustrate me, they don't frustrate me like the Dolphins do. They don't. All right. I endured the Marlins. I endured the Panthers in their various failings, but the Dolphins are on a different level. Okay. So I won't bandwagon when it comes to that. All right. Anyways, yeah, that's it. So I'm done here, guys. We're gonna see what happens with this AL wildcard game.
We're gonna lose. I'm telling you,
middle of the game right now. You know, maybe the Yankees have a spark of life to go into the second half of this game. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out next time. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Fire Aaron Boone. Fire him.
A sky that burned not to return. No other element would do. Her soul was grown in the bathroom. Her heart is just a revolute. I gave her lips from wild orchids when she came out of the cocoon. Not the real thing.